Alright, how's it going? Happy Wednesday. Today was another losing day for me. Uh, you know, doing pretty poorly lately, but going into the day, I didn't really. We had like an SMT here. Uh, so I was sort of bullish, but we didn't really break through any swing highs or anything, so I was kind of just staying on the sidelines. Um, and then we ended up coming back up to this new week opening gap, um, and we basically formed like another seek and destroy model today. But to me, there's just no like, I would have never entered this. Like, I don't know, I just don't think there was any real like trade there. I mean, I guess we did have like a 5 minute here after we displaced down. I guess this would be like considered your breaker. I mean, I'm sure there's if you zoom out a little bit, like this is your breaker here. So I guess in theory, you wouldn't want to see price come back up here, since that's your breaker. You got this 5 minute, and I guess there's probably a little internal model here. Not really, but you come take this high and sparked your sell off at the end to go take out the London low. Yeah, I would have never taken this setup, but maybe that was sort of a setup you could have taken to take advantage of that. And then this ended up being low resistance liquidity. We came all the way back down into this very big 1 hour fair value gap, and then we started to hold above it. So once we came down and took this sell side level, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna come back in the PM and see what happens, because I knew it was gonna be pretty garbage. And I'm now thinking, and when I saw us take this level, this is looking pretty clean in terms of AMD model. Like, think about it. We have this one external buy side level, one external sell side level. Everything else was just chopping back and forth. So accumulation range, manipulation at the lows. I'm very bullish now until we run up and take this buy side level. The only thing that complicates it is that ES is like not correlated at all, and basically every one of these highs is like an SMT. Like there's an SMT at this high. It's like, I don't know if these are like, if you can trust these SMTs, but like these are all SMTs, even all the way over here. But that's pretty ridiculous. But I guess when you're looking at ES as well, ES obviously looks extremely bullish. We came down into this huge imbalance, OTE, this the FOMC range. We've ripped up. We've displaced through like a massive higher time frame swing high here. So extremely bullish on ES. So if we're bullish on ES and there's a clean looking AMD model on NQ, which is also bullish, I think I'm just going to completely disregard those SMTs, and we'll see if that is a bad decision or not. But yeah, so keeping that in mind, I took one trade. So So we were sort of displacing, not really displacing, but we had formed this big 15-minute fair value gap. We came above this high here, and I was not going to just take a trade off this because we could have easily just, swept that high and then just went back lower. But, so, once we took out this sell side, I mean, I'm sure we have bigger SMT. I mean, it's awkward because this was an SMT previously. I guess this is technically your SMT here, but like that's awkward as well. But we did have SMTs internally, so ES started taking out all of these lows. NQ did not. I mean, I guess looking at ES realistically, relatively clean. I mean, we displaced through all of these on the 5-minute, and then, we came back to this 5-minute imbalance, and this is just, just like a clean model here. You know what I mean? If you were just looking at sort of the higher time frame model, and you're the type of trader to just like place a trade and walk away, we came down into OTE 5-minute and held that for the remainder of the day. Even continued to hold this 5-minute as well. Look at the bodies. Bodies respected that perfectly. Wicks did the damage. And then massive end of the day expansion move. But, so got the 15-minute there. We also had a 5-minute here. And so after lunch, we had these lunch highs here, and we were sort of just accumulating in this range. We came into OTE, we bounced. I was expecting this low to like be the protected low, and that's when I zoomed in to see what we were doing here. And in my mind, I was viewing this as the accumulation range. And then once we took this low, so basically what happened was I was seeing this as like accumulation, and I was looking for a little internal AMD model, and we took this low and bounced, and we had this 30-second that we ran through the bearish one and then like used it as support, and so we kind of just wicked, and I hesitated a bit, and then I finally ended up entering, and where I entered was just terrible in comparison to like where the manipulation part of this leg was. Like if I did view this as an AMD model, I realistically should have just went for a turtle soup trade and just smacked a long, like right below these relative equal lows here, expecting that this was going to be manipulation and then distribution to the upside. And if I did do that, I definitely would have gotten stopped out, but it would have definitely been at break even because we had this 30-second fair value gap here, and we were just bouncing off of it. Had these equal lows. Once we took those and then bounced, I definitely would have moved my stop loss here, which would have just been 3 points. I would have just been like up like $2 on the day, after like commissions and stuff like that. So realistically, if I was gonna play this AMD model, I should have just had the balls to do that, because at the end of the day, if I had just put my stop like somewhere around here, it's like very similar anyway, very similar risk, you know what I mean? So I don't know, maybe I could have just put it like a little bit under OTE or something, I don't know. And then I would have gotten stopped out at break even, but so I ended up just taking my full loss on this. I was sort of seeing all this consolidation here, like going from red to green to red to green. I was like, man, this is not looking good. Like, I realistically should get out. And then, you know, we ended up just pushing to the downside, respecting that 30-second, and then actually having the real manipulation move. So, you know, in hindsight, these are just basically relative equal lows here. You know, there's just a bunch of liquidity resting around here, and then we just came into OTE, the range, and you know, when you're looking at it like this is much cleaner of an AMD model here. You have this buy side level, and then, you know, your relative equal lows there, and so this is the accumulation range. And I think what I did wrong here is, you know, AMD models, like even like this external one, you don't, like, it's different from turtle soup where you just sort of like wick. You know, like a turtle soup would just be like, you know, you have like a low, and then you just come below that low by like a tick before bouncing up, you know, if your low is like drawn out by that line. But like AMD models generally have like a manipulation phase where you're like this, like this, you're actually like dipping below that a decent amount so that it looks like you're going lower before expanding to the upside. So since I was like playing an AMD model, this really wasn't enough manipulation. But I think it's fine to go for the turtle soup, but I think if I'm gonna play turtle soup, I just gotta have the balls to smack the actual turtle soup, not wait for confirmation after the fact. Like, you just gotta smack a long right here, just a limit order. So yeah, I got stopped out, and then this is where we had the actual manipulation. We came down into OTE right there. We ended up holding the 5 minute perfectly, which, like, you know, we had already sort of wicked through the 5 minute, but we had OTE there. You know, this is like the bad thing about trying to trade on your phone at work. Like, if you just zoom out a little bit, it all makes a little bit more sense, you know? We have consequent encroachment of this wick. This 5 minute holds, you know, perfectly at that point in time, and you see OTE the range, you know, that's just clear. Like, that's clear accumulation, manipulation. I of course did see this, and I did have a limit order, you know, resting. We also had like a 1 minute gap there, but we never came back to this. I think, you know, you see this 30-second get respected, break of structure up here. I guess this is one of those times where you just smack along, you know, stop below the low, targeting that high, and we just went straight to it. So so I'm not too like upset about that. I'm upset about my entry and how I hesitated so much and then just got like a shit entry. I think, like, you know, that I do think it looked pretty good, like the accumulation, manipulation. Obviously wasn't the best structure. We had a lot of sell side here that could have easily gotten ran through. You know, we had a massive move to the downside. Definitely, like, realistically probably shouldn't have even been trading. But yeah, so then later on in the day, we ended up, you know, the end of the day moves lately have just been insane, but, you know, the past like 3 days. But we ended up having like an SMT here, I think it was, and then just like a pretty classic internal model, but where we have a low, we take that low, SMT, displace up, long at that 1 minute, targeting the internal high, and it just ripped right through it. But I was looking at this thinking like, this is looking bearish. Like, I was seeing all of this sell side, and I don't know, I just was not gonna take a long here. I really thought, we were just gonna rip to the downside. We were respecting bearish order flow, that this 5 minute here we respected. This order block we respected, even that little 5 minute gap there, we were respecting that. So I was thinking that we were going to run this to the downside at the end of the day, but clearly did not. So ES, pretty clean though. Like this 15 minute gap layered on top of the 5 minute that we just basically held and just wicked off of the entire day. It's pretty clean there, pretty clean. I don't like ES, and I think that's mainly because I trade like the internal model. So like looking at charts like this is pretty disgusting, but I guess if you're just someone who likes to stick on the 5 minute, this is pretty damn clean here. Pretty damn clean, and it's tight risk too. If you had just longed there, I mean, you would have had to put your stop below equal lows, which I'm not a fan of, but pretty tight risk, great reward. So yeah, man, with that, I'm doing pretty bad recently. So I think this looks pretty clean. Hopefully we have some good opportunity. Hopefully we have, like, since it was such a big move, we have some sort of consolidation in the overnight session rather than like big moves, and hopefully we just kind of chop around and then have some morning manipulation and then rip to the upside. I think we do got a lot of news tomorrow as well, so hopefully we don't just sprint to the upside right in the morning. But yeah, like zooming out, the AMD model I think looks pretty clean. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I'm thinking this probably becomes the draw on liquidity. After that, I don't really know. But main thing is going to have to see if this 1 hour holds, because we are just most likely in OTE of this range. Yeah. Big 15 minute OTE, 15 minute breaker. So I'm gonna see if we blow through that or not. I got this big 15 minute too. It's most likely what I'll be looking at. So yeah, hope you guys made some money. I'd say the discipline was, it was alright until the entry. The entry was bad. The entry was really not disciplined at all. It was, in fact, the opposite with the hesitation and stuff like that. But, I don't know. Just trying to make my way through. At least I'm taking small losses. I'm definitely red on the month now. I'm like down, nothing crazy, down like $50 or something on the month, but I think that's a big reason for why I've been trading like shit recently, is because that's been on my mind every day, where I'm like, man, I'm like red on the month. I can't be red on the fucking month. The only month I've been red on is December. So definitely an emotional barrier there, knowing that I'm red on the month, trying to like make that back, which is, you know, never a good recipe when you're trying to make money back. So you know, we have tomorrow, which is Thursday, and then Friday is Good Friday, which the market is closed. You know, and then futures will close at like 1 o'clock. I think there is like a bunch of news on Friday, I think, in the morning too, which is interesting. I won't be trading that, but you know, I'll screw around, do some paper trading. But so yeah, tomorrow I'm again just gonna try to be disciplined, and if there's a good setup, I'll take it. But we'll see. So I hope you guys made some money, and yeah, if I trade like usual, I'll make another video tomorrow. So peace out, have a great night.